with law enforcement. Having good relationships between the community and the police will result in a safer community. We asked the question of why members of the community chose to not contact the police if a crime occurred. The issue of people being afraid of the police is due to the feeling of not knowing if the victim will be respected or not when contacting the police. According to an article in the New York Times, the number of Latino women in Houston, Texas, reporting rapes has gone down 40%. There are many factors to why this is such a struggling issue, and we have researched ways to help solve the poor relationship.
Why is this a problem? Well, there are many factors as to why the community feels unsafe and unsteady when it comes to the police, but another important question to ask is why do the police respond as they do? Well, to start off, police feel as if they need to be more aware and apply more force because of the statistic that Black and minorities are more likely involved in criminal activities, so police respond in that way because they already feel threatened. Also, another statistic is that law enforcement agencies are adapting body-worn cameras at an extremely rapid pace, and doing this it increases the accountability to police brutality. Therefore, it shows that Blacks and minorities are more victims to this issue.
I'm going to be discussing about the different beneficial solutions that could help the citizens in the community feel like they can approach the law enforcement. Those three solutions are policy changes, voting, and citizens in the community and law enforcement officers interaction. First one, policy changes. If here in Phoenix, Arizona, the government were to be if here in Arizona, if they were to make different policy changes with law enforcement officers, they could try making changes in their hiring and training processes. To focus on the hiring process, we should first make them more diverse. If law enforcement departments were to make the hiring process more differently and having more diverse law enforcement officers if they were to have, oh my gosh.
In the force?
Yeah, if they were to have more diverse police officers in the force, those in the community would more likely to feel safe because a different variety of people that are being in law enforcement, as well as they feel like they'll be getting treated equally and feel like they would be understand. So in that case, basically meaning that if there are more diverse people in law enforcement, those citizens could feel that they're able to feel equally treated and that they're not different, as well as the training process, making officers feel more comfortable and comfortable. Majority of the officers now just seem very aggressive, powerful, and feel like they have control. If we were to have a different training process where they could feel like they could be approachable and seem understanding, then those in the community would feel safer. Voting. If the citizens in the community were able to be understanding and know who are they voting to be their sheriff, then they will now have a better understanding of who their sheriff is and what they value to make them feel comfortable. Lastly, interaction with law enforcement officers and citizens. The city providing events, if the city were to provide events for law enforcement officers and those in the community to have one-on-one interaction, they would feel more safer with those in law enforcement. By this, they could have engaging activities where kids or even adults could interact with law enforcement officers, well as having meetings where they could communicate what the problems are, what issues need to be resolved. As stated in Reducing Fear of Crime and Increasing Citizen Support for Pull the Police by Dr. Richard Johnson, three policing activities, however, repeatedly show evidence of reaching fear of crime and increasing citizen satisfaction with the police. The three strategies were police substations, community meeting, and non-enforcement face-to-face contact between officers and citizens in the neighborhood of greatest need, which goes to show that if there were to be some interaction between the law enforcement officers and those citizens in the community, they would feel like they would be able to approach the law enforcement officers.
Okay, so based on the solutions provided, we believe that in order to establish trust within a community and the police department, we believe that policy change would be the most effective for this reason, which would fall under training and hiring. So this has to do with the fact that most police academies adhere to a militaristic style of training that usually emphasizes force. So by focusing on policy change as the major solution, this would really help improve from within the department. According to an article from the Washington Post, some police departments are implementing a new type of police training program. One example is the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission. So basically what they're doing is that they're teaching their new cadets the idea of creating officers who are guardians of democracy rather than warriors who are there to conquer and use force. So by being able to incorporate training programs like this, it helps police officers go into training such as how to handle certain situations and be more approachable to the community. So this will help reduce fear within the community. So community members will be more likely to contact their police department when they need it. Also, things such as including cultural diversity training would also be beneficial for the reason that police officers could be trained on different cultures and ethnicities and know how to talk to these people with in regards to their culture. It is also important that within the police department, they also recruiting more minorities into the department. This will also make the department seem more friendly to the community, and the community will also be more likely to contact their local police department when there is a situation, and will certainly reduce the fear. According to a law professor at the University of South Carolina named Seth Sogington, he believes that these types of training are very beneficial because they help officers learn how to treat people more humanely instead of using an authority force towards them. And it also helps improve the perceptions of not only the officers, but also the department within the community. So overall, based on all the solutions that were described, which were voting, interaction between the police and the community, and policy change, we believe that policy change would result in a more positive change that starts within the community, that starts within the police department, then expands into the community. Thank you.